What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Monday Scale News Update. Let's jump into the topics that happened over the last week. And the first one I want to talk about is a new release from Proline. It's the BFG KM3 mud terrain style tire. It's a new 4.75 inch tall 1.9 tire. Now, I always liked this style of tread pattern from BFG. As far as this one goes in a 1.9, it's pretty similar to the old flat iron, but a little bit of update, of course, because now it is a licensed KM3 version of BFG's mud terrain tire. Retail price on these looks to be around that $29 range. You can find the links to them in the description below. One of the next ones that I saw pop up over the last week is not scale off-road, but still scale and still pretty much off-road, but it's the new Kyosho 1/50th scale hydraulic excavator. Now, initially when I saw just the headline of this, I thought they actually came out with a hydraulic excavator, but no. That is just the name of it. This seems to be more around toy grade than anything else. It's just one of those things that I was initially excited by and then immediately realized what exactly it was. I think the load capacity on this thing is only about 30 grams. So definitely not going to be doing anything aggressive with this, but the controls are said to be fairly realistic style. So if you and up to 2 other friends would like to play with the hydraulic excavators, you can find those in the link in the description below. Over the last week, I saw that Vaterra will be canceling completely the Chevy K5 Blazer on the Ascender chassis. It was said that once the stock of them is gone, they will be completely gone. I think either the ready to run or the kit is already gone, but once the supplies of the other one are gone, they are gone for good. So if you're looking to pick up one of those model Vaterra Ascenders, get them while they last. A new release from Kyosho Creations over the last week is the new B-Link. This is a Bluetooth interface that allows you to control a ton of different Castle products from your iOS device. Android is said to be following soon, but for now, you can use your iOS device and this B-Link to control a huge list of Castle products. It gives you basically all of the control that you're used to seeing in the CastleLink PC software. So for those of you who are like me and run a lot of Apple products, you will finally be able to control our Castle software from our Apple devices, even if it's not yet on my Apple laptop. I was actually able to get one of these B-Links before they were released. I'm gonna be putting this in my Portal axle truck because I'm running the Mamba X ESC in that rig. I've actually been doing a new underhood setup on that truck to kind of show that Castle Mamba X in the front, just because I wanted to mount it a little bit different, and it turned out to be a fun project. I'm going to try and find an interesting place to mount this B-Link interface as well, similar to how I did the ESC in the front of that car. Once I get this mounted in its final position in that car, I'll show you guys more on that. The app is already available on the App Store. You can open it and you can just go into demo mode and see all of the different settings that you'll possibly have on whatever item you have from Castle. I'll put a link to the B-Link in the description below, as well as a link to the App Store where you can find the app. With getting that piece from Castle this week and how far things have come, being able to program our ESCs and things on the fly from our phones wirelessly, let alone with how advanced ESCs and motors have gotten, this week saw a post on Facebook that brought me all back to the old days again. Someone had bought a used Axial AX10, which was set up old school, stock chassis AX10, but it had the 2.3A split hump pack on the front axle. And for those of you who don't know what that means, way back before we used to run LiPo, we would have these custom packs made from a cell called a 2.3A size. It's a battery that's a little bit bigger in diameter than a AA, not quite as big as a C, but shorter overall. Anyway, it was a very popular size, and we used to be able to kind of put them up on the front axle to keep the weight down and low, but on either side of our servo. But it was just funny to see how many of the people had no idea what they were. People thought that they were vape packs that people were soldering together for some sort of custom front battery setup. And it just shows how far we've come in not all that long of a time specifically. But it was interesting to see how many people were in the hobby now that had no idea, who had ever seen anything like that before, just because of how long ago that type of setup has faded from the forefront. I loved the old school crawling, the fabrication that all of us had to do because nothing was available to just buy and install. Now, once the AX10 came out, things started to snowball and more options became available. But before the AX10, we really didn't have any options. I had just as much fun then as I do now, but I really love the state of the hobby now as well. So no matter when you got into this hobby, it's a great time to be in it. And with all of the other options that are available now, you almost see as many variations of trucks as we did back then, even though that back then every single one of them was custom built. So no matter if you're an old school RC rock crawler or a newbie, it's always awesome to be in this hobby. Really looking forward to just seeing what else comes with the rest of this year. We've had an awesome year so far. Really been excited to do the news updates. It kind of helps track and it'll put a storyline to a lot of things that happen in the news in our hobby over time. So as a fun question of the week, post up what your first RC rock crawler was and what your first hobby grade RC was. Mine were one and the same, and it was a used Tamiya TXT1 that I turned into my very first rock crawler. For me, when I got into the hobby, it was 2004. RC rock crawling was just in its infancy. The rock crawling and scaling side of RC is really the only part of RC that is really just grabbed on and not let go. But with that, that'll wrap up the topics for this week's Scale News Update. Hope you guys all have an awesome week. We'll see you back here next Monday for another Scale News Update. Thanks for watching, guys. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one.